I chose this. No one forced me. No one bullied me. It was my choice.
To be a football hooligan?
Yeah, it was all my choice. It's something I wanted to do because I like the attention, whether it's negative, whether it's positive.
Flux, earlier you said you suffered with bipolar, and this was just as you were coming out of prison.
Yeah. Really? You mean I get off one shit to go into another bit of shit? And it's a path for me to become and do a safeguarding course and become a mentor. Because I believe this, Rob. No matter what you do in life, no matter big or small, you have to ask yourself, what part did you play to get yourself in this predicament?
Can't believe you're having to go through all of this, you know, bro.
Yeah,
bruv, I cannot believe you have to go through all of this, bro.
You can do anything you want to do in life. You can do it. I don't care. Because I've been incarcerated, been on a certain drug, got mental health. Now, if I can get, okay, you need support and you need to believe yourself, but you know, if I can do it, me personally, anybody can do it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the London Something podcast with myself, DJ Ron. To those of you who are new to our channel, thanks for joining us as we explore and journey through the lives of artists from the jungle and drum and bass scene. We'd like to also thank our sponsor, West End DJ, who offer an amazing list of DJ equipment for all of you DJ enthusiasts out there. There's a link in the description below where you can go and get a nice little discount mentioning the London Something code. Don't forget, you know, we try and look after our family, our London Something family out there. Anyway, if you've been enjoying the episodes, it would really help us if you'd hit the like, share and subscribe button, and also hit that little notification bell, because with your support, we're able to bring more of these episodes to you. But our guest today goes back right to the very early days of Groove Rider in jungle, that is. As far as I remember, anyway, from the days when Groove had his fur coat. Big up, Groove, you know what I mean? Are you all one, man? Right? Anyway, all that aside, you know what I mean? Big shout goes out to the whole of the Internati Massive, you know what I mean? Of which my next guest was a part of. Shout goes out to DJ Bailey. Shout goes out to Inch High, Danny B, Face, Pete Nice, and Cool and Deadly, who was also Groove Rider's first MC. Big shout goes out to Juice. But right now, MC Flux, how you doing, my brother? You all right?
I'm doing good, you know.
Good, yeah?
Just one more to mention from the Internati Killer.
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
Okay, right, yeah. Well, you know, I can't remember them all, man. Do you know what I mean?
Do your thing,
I didn't do too bad.
You know what? You didn't, you know?
Yeah, I didn't
was
do
thinking,
too
I wasn't
bad.
even going to remember all the Inter.
Yeah.
But you know what? You went through it nicely and, respect for that.
For those of you who don't know, Flux has been through loads of things, you know what I mean? As a man in the city streets of London and outside of London as well. Flux, you're now a qualified mentor, having been through everything you've been through and what have you. And I'm not sure if you know the format of this podcast, but really this is more about your life rather than your career. And we normally go back to early days from when you were a child, you know what I mean, and work our way up into present day. So fire away, man. What was it like for you, like your earliest memories?
You know what? My earliest memories as a child was good, you know. It wasn't like if I was like brought up in an estate with like one mum or one dad and there was like this going on, that going on. I had a good family. I had good parents, brought up the right way. Brothers and sisters, close in community. Yeah, life was good. There was no complaints. There's no animosity. There was no like something was like out of the extraordinary. It was like tight, good manners, good upbringing, two parents, brothers and sisters, no complaints.
Okay, that's interesting because you know, there's always, I don't know, even for me, I think there's always I have this sort of like stereotype of you know, like these single parent families and what have you, but they weren't all single parent families, you know, they weren't all like that. Yeah. And so what was it like for you, like school days? Were you quite academic? You know, like what was it like back then?
Boy, school days.
Boy.
You know what, Ron? I sit here and I say to myself, probably the best time of my life, school days. I love school. And let me tell you why I love school. Because my school, particular school, was still as high school for boys. And the Scale School was next door, obviously. So the Sellers High School for girls as well. We get to that later as well. School life for me was brilliant. I loved every moment of school life. Why? Because it wasn't a school. It was a holiday camp. We done what we wanted to do. And there was a whole firm of us. You could say when you watch them American programs, the popular people, I was part of that crew. I think.
And whereabouts was this? Whereabouts was the school?
This was in Croydon.
In Croydon, right? Okay,
South
so that's where
London.
you're originally from, Croydon.
Yeah, Lewisham and Croydon.
Oh, Croydon, right? Okay.
And moved down to Croydon when I was young, and grew up from there. But this part of Croydon was like, Croydon's a very multicultural place, even more so now. And to have a school that really didn't really care for the pupils per se, we done what we want. And it was like a fraction of us what just had, it was just joke every day. Joke. I guess for me on my part, I always liked to be in the limelight. And whether that was just like, the one to say, I do it first, the joker in the pack. You could say, some people will probably say playing the fool, just to get their attention, say, yeah, I'm here. So school life was brilliant. I loved every moment of it. Probably, like I said before, probably the best time of my life. We firmed up against other schools, that fighting moments, like we're saying we're the toughest, because we had a good nucleus, a hardcore of people. And most of the people who were at Sellers were football boys as well.
Okay.
Which apparently led to my spiral of going to that way of events. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting you said as well about the fact of, now you're able with hindsight to go, I was playing the fool or wanting to be noticed and what have you. I wonder, and I think of that from my own experience, you know what I mean? I wonder how much of that leads into my adult life, and an observation of oneself about how they carry themselves, you get what I mean? And reasons why, perhaps. But that's a whole nother story, do you know what I mean? That's a whole nother story. So you're at school, you had a great time at school. And were you like an academic child, or, were you good at school? I mean, you enjoyed the going to school, but were you good at your studies, and were you that sort of child?
No, I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
At school, I was badly dyslexic. I was taught probably to read and write by my ex-wife. I'm not being serious.
No way.
No.
Right.
Literally from the beginning. I was, my reading capability was okay, but it's much better now.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I'm self-taught. But at school, I was badly. Hence why, in a way, I didn't get to things properly. I got things late. Always got things late. Why I played the first one to say yes, because I'm not taking in the responsibility or what could happen, why I done it, because I'm not thinking. I haven't got that process in my mind. And being dyslexic leads you not to think of your thought process properly in life, to know the repercussions, what could happen if you done something. So being dyslexic at school, and the school didn't really actually care, and the school was just one big party. It was, it was nothing to me. It was like it's quite concerning.
Yeah, I could imagine it would have been, but did you know at the time it was like that? Could you remember if you knew, oh, there's something not quite right here?
It's always that hindsight. That word kills me, because in hindsight, when you think about it, you should think, yeah, you should know. But it didn't. It was like acceptable, especially for a West Indian, a person of colour. And back then, I don't think that you had to deal with people of colour. The teachers weren't quite qualified how to do it. There was a lot of discipline, because I came from that era where you had the cane. You got 6 of the best, ruler, chair, whatever goes, the teachers were allowed to do. So it was that era I came from. So it was, like I said, it was just one big party. And the concerns of whether they bothered about one's education, nah. If they weren't bothered, I weren't bothered, and vice versa.
Where were you in the line of like your siblings? Like, what child are you in?
I'm the second youngest.
You're the second
Out
youngest.
of 5.
Out of 5, right? Okay. And the reason I asked that is because, again, like I wondered if any of your other siblings suffered with any of those
No,
sort of like.
that's
things.
the whole trouble. I'm the only one.
You're the
I
only one.
mean, my younger sister and my brother are very successful now. If I say clever as are, excuse my French. Yeah. I guess it was just one of those things where it just didn't happen for me. But no, it didn't. It wasn't like genetical, if that's the word. It was it's the way it went.
Yeah.
The way the cookie crumbled, I guess.
Okay, so you're at school and you're kind of like growing up as a young man and what have you, and obviously I'd imagine that your teenage years, you know what I mean, like if your school years were like that, your teenage years as you're getting into that only magnified then, like your behaviour. And then, I mean, I can't imagine what that would have been like as you're getting older and having to navigate dyslexia while also being sort of like the life and soul of the party and what have you, and then trying, without letting people know you have this sort of disadvantage then. Like how did that play out for you, like in your teens?
Put it into context. I guess it's like you got a disadvantage of like reading and writing and processing things like normal people do, and knowing that what you do could end up as a consequence. So it didn't matter to me growing up. It just mattered to me just being popular. And that's what took precedence first in my life. As long as I'm popular. And I loved attention, and I suffered from attention, which was the core issue of why I'd done so many things in my life. Because attention I suffered from. Until I learned in my latter years what was my core issue of why I done this and I done so and so, because of the attention I suffered from. I've always wanted attention, and I'll probably do anything to get that attention, which is probably sad in a way, but in another way, that's what I thought was best. As long as I've done that, I'm being the limelight, be part of the crew, and it's attention, whether it's negative or positive.
I mentioned earlier about, that I was very similar in terms of, I don't know, playing the fool then at school, do you get what I mean? And wanting that sort of like attention and stuff like that. But I can actually pinpoint some key areas in my own life where that stemmed from. So it wasn't just that I wanted attention, it was something had happened that made me want the attention. Do you think you have anything like that?
Yeah, because I knew from a young age, out of 5, I was mummy's boy. I could do no wrong in mum's eyes, no matter what it was. Even to the day she passed away.
God rest her soul.
Yeah, thank you for that. My mum loved me and I loved her. That's it. I could do no wrong in my mum's eyes. So, in my way, I used to manipulate her to get what I wanted. Kiss her, cuddle her, say, "Mum, I loved you." And I guess I took that and I used that to my advantage with other people. I'm a quite sensitive guy. Even though there's another side of me, I'm quite sensitive. Probably too sensitive, a lot of people say, but that ain't never gonna go away. That's part of my character. And I guess that led me not to lead, but more to follow. So I was more following than leading. So guess I was passive than more assertive, which probably leads to even now. Sometimes I can be really passive, but when I become assertive, it's in a negative way. And that's because even now I think about it. Even now, all I know now, I still ask myself, why am I not assertive in ways I should be assertive? Why am I so passive in so many ways? Why does it take so much from me before I have to explode? And then when I do, people go, "Jeez, I didn't know Flux was like that." Do you understand? Flux is the joker. Flux likes to play this, likes to play that. But it's that dyslexia thought process of where I'm not thinking properly.
I just wanted to say that as long as I've known you, I've always I've never known you to be any other than being just cool, chilled, having a laugh. You know what I mean? You know, put one of the man them. And that has been, I mean, for you and I will know that that's been like for 30 years. It's not it's not a short period of time.
Nah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not a short period of time. And if you think that we probably were around our mid-20s when we first met, when you consider it, like from school to your mid-20s, those formative years, you know what I mean? They're quite likely to form you into a man, you know? And I think that this scene has kept us pretty young, to be fair, do you know what I mean? And our attitudes are quite...
Well, you look good still.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, that's
but you know what? I'm going to stop you there,
Yeah, go for
because
it.
we always... I keep telling you this, I don't know if you forget. I was a massive fan of yours, you know.
Thank you very much, brother.
You know, remember the Soul days?
Yeah, I do remember them.
Jeez, man, I remember you from then, and I just thought, this guy. And when I met you through the jungle times, I thought, I was in awe of you.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
From the Soul days, are you who you were?
Yeah.
Are you exactly who you were?
So yeah, even if you think about that, do you know what I mean? The Soul All Days, you know, I was a teenager then.
Yeah.
And you were already there for going out and raving and whatever. The school days had passed and what have you. And so, yeah, this is where, in a way, I would
You're talking 18, 19, you're talking 18, 19 sort of thing?
You're talking like sort of like Soul All Dayers were like just before the acid rave scene, in between the early 80s to the mid
85,
80s.
86.
Yeah, around about that time, yeah. And so you're growing up as a young man in that time. Tell me a little bit about then. And the reason I'm kind of like pacing this out is because I know that once we get into the jungle scene, you know, things started changing for you dramatically, you know what I mean? And so, but I want to kind of like get, for my own sort of like benefit, you know what I mean? Get to understand like what sort of person you were before those things kind of like came into your life, do you know what I mean?
Okay, you're talking about, say like we used to go Soul Days. We used to go up in the firm of us.
And there was this a massive part of that firm at that time?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, before, because we get that to later, there's two firms that come together from two areas, what made it into Natty.
Yeah.
But at that time, you're talking about Face Killer, Pete Nice, a couple of more, but it's not worth going into.
Yeah.
So, you know, we used to go up in there, firmed up, go to these Soul Days, do what we normally do, have a rave out, good time. But then the double life will kick in from 86 because I was always interested in football. Always from an early age, especially growing up next to a football ground and seeing what I saw. So, you know, it's like a Jack on the High thing. You know, they're going out, jumping up and down, chasing women, doing this, doing that, through changing a whole different lifestyle, whole different firm of people, and going and doing another thing.
And that other thing being part of a football firm. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely,
yeah. Well, Selhurst Park, excuse my ignorance, you know what I mean? But it's Crystal Palace, right?
I hope so.
You're right, okay.
Ron, you're pushing it, you know?
Crystal Palace, yeah. And so, okay, so you're at what age now when you started getting into that?
Well, I went to Crystal Palace from young age. I mean, the first game I went to was 1979 when we beat Burnley to go up to the old First Division, which is the Premiership. So, and I was 79, I was 13, 14.
No way, really?
Yeah,
right,
so
okay.
I was growing up right next to the ground in the States and all around there. So I saw football from a young age. So it's always interested me. Football's always been part of my life, always, no matter what. And I guess during the 80s, where the height of, if I can say, the football violence.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Yeah, I was part of that era. Were you who the main firms were? Are you exactly what was what? Even though my club wasn't known for a very high profile for that sort of thing, you know, are you exactly who was what was what, and who was what and what to do? You know
and it sounds to me, therefore, then, that if you already have this trait in you, which is that, you know, like you want to be accepted, you know, you want to show like who are, you know, like, what about me? Yeah. it sounds to me that there was a problem about to happen, if that's the case.
Oh, absolutely.
And you were 14 around about this time, at the early stages, yeah, very early stages.
Yeah. I mean, it excited me when the first encounter, I can remember it like it was yesterday. We played Middlesbrough. I must have been 13, 14, and I just saw these two clashes where I saw Middlesbrough come down, running down the road, big men, flares all over the place, rough-looking men, looked like they would eat you for breakfast, just charging into people. And, from being in school as well and being part of that, you could say popular crew, you're kind of bullied yourself, because if you're popular, you're picking on the weak. So I was always interested in that sort of like running up and down stage, that, we can stand our ground, or you can't make us run, or whatever you want to call it. So to me, football interests me, that side. It brought something to me. It brought me alive. I love the fact that you got two people coming together as one. Do you know what I mean? And battling and holding their ground. It was just like something I knew that was going to be detrimental in my life. Didn't know when, but I knew there was a path I was going to follow. And
did you really know it then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or was it just that you know it now and you think you knew it then?
No, I knew from a young age, because obviously the people in our school followed Palace. There was another school what was up the road, what was a Palace hardcore school. So, and the area I lived in, everybody knew each other, and they were all football people. So I knew from early, I will take this path somehow. This path, I'm gonna go down this path. I was already in it.
No. I don't mean that you were gonna take the path, but did you know that it was gonna cause you a problem?
No.
That's the point I'm making. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, I knew you were going to take that path.
That consequential
you
thinking,
wanted to take that path.
Yeah.
But you didn't have no bearing on what the consequences that would turn out to be.
That consequential thinking, which I know now, which I train for now, which I know for off my head, I can recycle it. That was nowhere near it.
Yeah.
That didn't even come into it. Wasn't even in the same park.
I understand, yeah. If you consider, like, going back a few steps to what I just now said, that when I first met you, and I've known you for 30 years, of those 30 years, at least 20 had gone by before I had any idea of your... Yeah, I'm serious. I had any idea about these sort of like, these character traits in you. Do you get what I mean? That kind of, in a way, slowed down your progression as a man then. Do you know what I mean? I get what you said earlier about the desire about wanting to be a part of this crew. I've been a part of a crew before, do you know what I mean? I've not been part of a football fraternity in that way, but I get it. I mean, you go back to Roman days, you know what I mean? We've been doing this a long time as humans. I'm going to battle you, you know what I mean? And whatever. And if you get caught up in that, it's quite likely you might start liking it. And to be 14, not even an adult yet, and to be already caught up in that, I find it quite fascinating, because you don't think of football hooliganism within a teenage world. Not that I know of. They certainly don't put that in the media, you know what I mean? So yeah, sorry, carry on.
Well, no, I mean, everything you said is absolutely right. I guess it's apparent because growing up next to a ground, and going to a school what was next to the ground, and the people alongside me, or the people who I admired at that time or I followed, were into the same thing I wanted to be part of. So I wasn't coerced. I was like fascinated. I was curious. And you know what they say, curiosity killed the cat, and it certainly did in my path when it comes later on in my life. It was my choice. Remember, no one forced me into my own, what can I say, defects of my character. I chose to be, and I need to put that on camera now, I chose this. No one forced me. No one bullied me. It was my choice.
To be a football hooligan?
Yeah, it was all my choice. It's something I wanted to do because I like the attention, whether it's negative, whether it's positive, whether it got me to trouble, whether it didn't got me to trouble, whether it just got me anywhere. If I got that attention, and to me, getting someone's attention is all I want. So whether I was getting abused, as long as I can get your attention and get your focus on me, that's all I wanted. And that sounds crazy and mad, right?
No,
But that's what I suffered from.
No, it doesn't sound.
You see, there's another thing that someone said to me. I mean, I had another interview, and someone looked at me funny and went, "You mean you like people speaking about you?" And I said, "It's not that I love people speaking about me, but if you got time to speak about me, I ain't got time to speak about you. And knowing that you're spending your time speaking about me, whether you're laughing at me or not, makes you thinking I must be someone really special that you got to talk about me because I ain't got time to talk about you." So it used to give me a thrill that I'm getting your attention. And it's stupid. And I know it is now. But that's what I suffered from with attention. Hence why I used to play the fool or the joke in the back.
You were a football hooligan at a young age, and you were still going out raving. I'd imagine that at some point or another, your story of how you got into the rave scene, do you know what I mean? I think we need to kind of explore that a bit because again, even listening to you now, and I knew as time went by that you were a football. I know everything. I know the latter part of the story from hearsay. I'm gonna get the full 100 today. Do you know what I mean? Right? I know the hearsay version of it.
Yeah?
I know the hearsay version of your story, but I'm fascinated right now at the fact that when I knew you, you were already a football hooligan, right?
Correct.
But I don't know the transition and how that, and you were still a hooligan when I knew you.
Correct.
So I'm fascinated now about the transition from, you know, the solo days of the century to the acid rave scene, to groove, to the internati massive, and all of that happening while you're on the terraces at the weekend, causing mayhem.
Well, I met Groove from playing football.
Okay.
We played for the same club called Northern Red Roux.
Okay.
In school years, he was older. And they played for the older team, and I played for the younger team. So you had Groove, Juice, Killer, Pete Nice in one team, and then you had the younger team, which was me. And that's it, because Face came along later. So you grew from a very young age, and they're all from Streatham. You know, you got Danny B, Juice, and Groove, and Clive. They're Streatham boys. They used to come down to Croydon and check all the girls and tie their teeth with all the girls. And, you know what I mean? Then, so we knew each other. You know, I knew Raymond from a very young age. So the progression of that, they didn't know what I used to get up to. My lot did, because it was my drug at that time. When I got inducted into a firm, it was like the best day of my life. It was like a fraternity going through what their Americans go through to get into that fraternity, you know, what they have to do. And to be inducted, even as a black guy, at them days, you're talking about 88, the induction. Even I was going for it, but the induction, like, what are you going now? You're part of the firm. Was mind-blowing. I can remember going acid house raves. And I remember we went, I think it was Biology Sunrise. And then we went to Clapham Common afterwards. And I said, look, I've got to go for a meet, mate. You know, this is on. You know,
let's have it.
Yeah. You know, it was it's a different buzz. And it's, you know, I ain't going to justify nothing because I'll be silly sitting here in front of you and in front of the podcast viewers when you look and justify my action, because you're not going to get it unless you're involved in it, and I ain't going to justify it because it is silly at the time and it got me nowhere. But what I would say, it's testing yourself as a man. I wasn't hard. It wasn't like I was the best fighter. I couldn't box. I'm not had martial arts in me. It's just that the fact that is that I just didn't care and I wasn't scared, and I'm not scared. It's like, do you know when you have 100 meters, you're going for a race, you get that adrenaline. You know that adrenaline I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's the adrenaline. Hold on to that adrenaline and put it into like, you're going to have a fight. But I like that adrenaline. It's a buzz. It's like what people take as a drug. It was a buzz. Still get it now, talking to you now. I feel like I'm going to go.
No, I can tell. I can see you're remembering it fondly.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It will never go away.
Mm.
Even when I think, but it was detrimental how and what happened in my life and what it became. But in a way, in a positive, in a negative came out a positive.
Yeah, well, thank God for that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank God for that. So you're living this secret life as a football hooligan.
I wouldn't say secret.
Well, in some ways it is, because you're at the raves, and in the raves you're not causing any trouble there.
No, but
do you get what I mean? But then you're going, you know what? Oh, all right, fellas, I got to go now. Do you get what? Do you know what I mean? And put on your cape and then turn into like a football hooligan. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in many ways it is secret.
Yeah, if you put it like that, yeah, but it's not like whoever you.
Whoever knew, yeah.
It's not like it's nothing to boast about.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah,
and
I
tell you who I used to speak to a lot about it. We used to have go in the back. We used to go AWOL. I mean Archie, you know Archie?
I remember Archie, yeah.
Yeah. We used to go in the back because he's a West Ham.
Yeah.
And he was quite high up the ladder a bit.
Yeah.
And you Swallow.
Yeah.
From the Bella Blanco.
That's right, yeah.
So we used to have good chats.
Yeah.
But I know the high up, Swallow's high up in the field, he's under 5, high up. So even at the times of the acid house rave, you got to understand this. And this is not me saying it because there's been films about it. It brought firms together. And it was like tense for me because I knew exactly what was going on.
Well, that's really interesting, actually, now you say that, because, like in the early days of the acid rave scene, you mentioned Mr. Swallow, right? And that there was a lot of firms. Well, I didn't see them as a lot of firms.
Desire,
I always thought of them as just one firm from our end, which was West Ham and ICF and whatever, who kind of like controlled a lot of the acid rave scene. But obviously at that time there must have been other firms from other football grounds. But I never really thought of them.
You had Tottenham, you had Fulham and Mick.
Yeah. I mean, even up north with BAM and well, I say up north, but they are north.
You had BAM,
you
had BAM, you had Neville from Coventry.
Neville and Coventry.
You had the Zulu firms. You had Ginger, Baz, and they used to do all the things from Birmingham.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So the Zulus used to control that. So it was like when I used to go out with Groove, I'm talking to the actual football firms themselves.
Yeah.
I'm linking with Nev and thing. We're talking about football.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the game. We're talking about what's going on. How did you get on? What's going on? And when I was going back to Archie from the underground lot, part of the underground lot, that's what me and him used to talk about all day. Go in, the top bit of the calf. Sit down, we eat, and we're talking about, who are you having it with? And reminisce. And you know what? Even with my boy.
Yeah, Fats, God rest his soul.
Fats used to get involved.
Yeah, of course he did.
And that's how me and Fats had that link, because we always knew about the football days. And he was funny with it as well. Bless him, I miss that guy.
Yeah.
And, sorry, give me a minute. It's not important. It's just like, when I just think about them conversations we used to have, but we get into that later. That's how it was with me going out. So it wasn't quite like we said. It wasn't a secret per se. But who he didn't know, he didn't know.
Okay. Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Okay. So you're heavily now into the. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit just because of a particular story I want to get to. You know what I mean? You're in the jungle rave scene now. Acid rave scene's come and gone, and I think I know you from this point onwards. Yeah. and I know you from this point on. You, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't know anything about this hooliganism stuff, and I can't be certain that when I heard or when I saw a film, a video clip of you, and I saw this video clip of you on a train or some shit like that, and then from that incident, I heard that you then went to prison over it, and I wasn't sure, and I don't know from memory as I sit here right now, whether at that time you were already being challenged with your addiction. Yeah. And so I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to go back to the Flux who I just saw as this happy-go-lucky guy, always around the spot. Do you get what I mean? Whenever I was out laughing and joking and what have you. And then I get like whatever it was, the information, somebody says to me, boy, have you seen that thing? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me about that.
It doesn't...
And which one came first?
In what way?
Which one came first, the newsreel or the addiction?
The addiction.
Right, I didn't know that. See? And this is what I'm saying. I didn't know...
I was heavily... When that came out, I was heavily in addiction. That's probably the worst stage of my life.
Okay. I heard a lot of hearsay. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether they were factual. Like I heard a lot of hearsay about a number of significant moments in the history of our scene of individuals that, oh, this is what happened. But you don't know for a fact. It's what you hear. I heard, yeah, and we can cut this if we need to, yeah?
No.
But I heard, yeah, that somebody left drugs at your house. Or at your flat or whatever. You weren't an addict at that time. You weren't even taking the drugs at that time. And these drugs were left there. Like, I'm going to come and pick them up later. Or I'm going to come and pick them up whenever. And they were there, and they were there, and they were there. And because they were there, you weren't, you know what I mean, that little, voice in your head was like, just give it a go. Is that true?
I tell you how it went. Everything you said was 100% on the mark.
Really?
It was a Arthur. Can I say this?
The person's name?
No, not the person's name.
I was going to say,
what was there?
You can't say.
That's
fucking hell. Jesus. Right?
No, it weren't me. I didn't say it weren't me.
It's because you said Arthur. I thought you were going to say the geezer's name. I was like, bloody hell. Nah, mate.
Nah.
Of course you can say what it was. Of course you can.
It was like Arthur of a 9 bar.
Yeah.
And
of what? Of what?
Of heroin.
Okay.
And it was dropped in brick dust. Okay. So it was no good to nobody.
Okay.
And at the time, he was a good pal of mine. He said, leave that to your child, no problem. I was living a double life with women. And I was on the coke. I was like, for days. I'll never forget. I was like, for days. Lying to this woman, lying to that woman, lying to this woman. Double life. It was just constant.
Can I ask you a question before you get into that? You said you were on the coke at that time, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you have classed yourself as an addict then?
No, it was just like, around me because I have people around me who've done it in abundance. It's just accessible.
Okay, yeah.
But because of the...
I asked that specifically because I think that an addict, I think and somebody who does a lot of gear and an addict are two different things.
It was just the fact that the lifestyle I was living was killing me.
Yeah.
I had a gap where one wouldn't come up from another area and I didn't have to go to see another one. So I had a period for myself. So I just went, just do this thing. I was up for days and my head's beating around and not making sense. Something just said to me, if I put this in a spliff and smoke this, I wonder if it just let me go sleep because my head's beating around. And I got a thought process, hence why the mental health will come into later. And I thought, I felt sick, but it calmed me down. I went, this ain't too bad, Just thinking this, and I think it went going. If you fast forward, it went going for about every day for 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
Because it calmed me down, but I'm not thinking. I don't know nothing about it. What will happen? What the thought process is? What could happen to you? I just know what it just calmed me. And I remember I went shopping. And for I go shopping, and I didn't take nothing, didn't smoke nothing in the morning. I feel right. Like, got eight. I want to go to the toilet. And I went home and I thought this thing calming me down, pushing down. Carried on. And I remember it like it should. I remember dropping it. I went, shit.
You're addicted.
Addicted.
Like your body had actually assimilated to it.
If I didn't have that, I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
If that wasn't in my house, I would have gone through a little process of being hot and cold, blah, blah, thing, probably gone to the toilet. Weeks later, I'm fine. But because it was there, I made a choice. And before I knew it, the rest is history.
Yeah. So it was true.
Yeah. And that's where it went, yeah.
Sorry to hear that, bro.
No.
Because that consumed a lot of your life, as far as I know.
I think it was detrimental, and it's misconceiving how people see me and judge me now. And you know what? I got to take responsibility of that, because I say, no matter what happens, what part did I play for them persons to form an opinion about me? Now, when you're taking that drug, people are going to form an opinion about you. Doesn't matter what it is. Some people are going to say, yeah, but look at him now. Some people say, I'm not having it. That's not me. I don't care where am I come with. Let's say him's there. Or some people say, well, no, you know what? He's quite cool. Or some people who know me say, he's done it, he's cool, he's done his transition, now he's there. But I've got to take the responsibility of how people view me, because I made that choice, and its choice is what made me become a mentor, what I speak about, making choices in life and taking responsibility for whatever action you make. And here it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a shocking story, you know what I mean? And I'm glad you were like open enough to kind of like share it here. So you're addicted to heroin and the jungle scene's still going on. And I think round about this time, as far as I remember, there was a period, I can't, what year was that, would you say?
98.
Okay, it was the latter part of the 90s, yeah? Okay, yeah. That kind of makes a bit of sense, because for me, when I heard it through the grapevine, I didn't feel like I was, oh, right, I saw you again. Do you get what I mean? And that's not because of you being absent. It was because of me being absent. And it was just like, oh, did you hear about this? And did you hear about that? And what have you? And then I just started to hear the rumour mill again that something else would happen. And then the next thing that I heard, I think I saw it on someone's either phone or someone sent me a video. It's certainly, I didn't watch it. I didn't see it on the telly. That's for sure. But it was something that apparently came on the telly, right? Of a video of kind of like you and your friends or whatever, do you know what I mean, on a train and causing mayhem on a train. And that was the catalyst for you to then go to prison.
Yeah,
Tell me a bit about that.
You see, the train made it look bad, because it looked like, how they made it look like innocent people. We picked on people who didn't work football hooligans. It was nothing to do with that. It was like our main arrivals. I'm not justifying it, by the way, so let me just give you that now. It was like we were going to meet their main boys. We were getting on the train. Train doors open. Charlton boys, doors open. It was a catalogue, you know. The doors open, they're there, we're there, they're our enemies, but they're proper boys. We're tanked up. Some of us are like on the class A, tanked up. So it was a recipe for disaster before we got to their main boys, and they were after us for years. We had a little firm we made up, and they were after us for years, and we gave them for what they wanted. Cameron thing. It was a silly sentence, but in another sense, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. As I sit here today, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
And that was I just spoke just now about the year. That was like around about 98 with the heroin and stuff. But then this football thing, was that not long after that?
No, the football thing come 2007. There was a long.
So there's a massive gap.
Yeah, there's
right.
A massive,
See, there you go. Goes to show,
gap.
like,
I mean,
how,
there's a massive gap. It was like, yeah, whoever you. I mean, I knew how to hold it down quick, but obviously there's a gap when people are like, my man ain't really looking right.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? But I think I was holding it down good for a period of time.
Okay, yeah.
Until, there's always a time where, nah.
It's gone too far.
It's gone too
You
far.
can physically see.
People can see. You can't fool people.
Yeah.
You can actually see people like, my mate moving right.
Yeah.
And then the work as well, because at that time, 98, 99, my work was, I could have found everything. I was living a dream.
Yeah.
Taking an airplane like it was a taxi.
Yeah.
Working with extraordinary people. I mean, signed to Moving Shadow, metalheads, Bad Company, touring with them. The list is endless. Do you know what I mean? And Ram, it's extraordinary how, I'm working with all these fantastic people, and they're giving me a chance, and they're finding me a character, and I'm being detrimental to my life, especially when it comes to like groove and everything else, because he's a person who I look up to a lot, and to know that that where he keeps his stuff very private, to know that see his boy making a dime with Sparrow like that. I don't know how detrimental it was to him, but I knew he was saying if he ever stays. But
I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, God forbid I'd ever have to go through that with any of my friends. But I'm sure your friends would have been at loss for words at the least. You know what I mean? As to that's like a nearly 10-year period.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like a 10-year period of being on heroin. Do you know what I mean? And I would have seen you in that time, didn't know a thing about it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know about that. I can't remember. I'm not very good with years and when there, this, that, and the other. But I do remember kind of going, I don't think I'm going to see my man for a while. Do you get what I mean? But you get sentenced, right? You get sentenced. How long did you do?
3.5.
And how long physically did you do?
3.5.
So you did 3.5 years in jail?
Yeah, they would let me go.
You're joking.
Something about me going football again. They put a period against me not getting out. But it was like it was. But like I said, it was a best thing that ever happened to me.
You see, this is what I'm saying about time.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't seen you. I must not have seen you for a long
7
time.
years.
Yeah, a long time.
If you think about it, I was 7 years out the scene physically.
Yeah.
Whether I went to get back in, I was 7 years out.
Yeah.
So
wow.
You do the maths, yeah.
Wow. Well done for making it back, brother. I'll tell you that now.
Like I said to anybody, I hate using that word haters because I don't believe in that. Hard work, perseverance, keep your eye on the ball game. You know what I mean? Take responsibility, be honest, be upfront. Trust me, it will persevere and it will get you where you want to get. And it has got me where I want to get.
I just want to go back a little bit because you mentioned earlier, and I don't want to just gloss over those times because they must have been still good times for you when you were MC Flux. And again, it's interesting because then again, you're still living this double life, triple life even. Triple life. Because now you're MCing, nobody really knows, well, I certainly didn't, but nobody knows. I'm sure the people who you've just listed, if they knew that, right, this guy's a heroin addict, football hooligan, he's going to come on tour with us, I don't think they would have had a bar of that.
Well, no, I mean, yeah,
but you had a great career. Do you know what I mean? So tell me a bit about that. Walk me through what were the good times. Just leave the addiction and the violence to the side for now. But just MC Flux, how I knew you.
It was mind blowing, and I'm gonna take it back, and I'm gonna move it quite quickly.
Because that list of names you said just then.
Becoming Colin Dell, as you know.
Yeah.
His MC, this is before the addiction, was mind-blowing enough. He said, being his MC taught me a lot.
Why did it teach you a lot?
Because Colin Dell, because a DJ asking you're my MC, it's a massive thing because when you use the mic and somebody DJ wants you to mic with them, you feel like...
I can understand that. Yeah, I can relate to that.
And then performing somewhere, and the moving shadow at the time coming for you said, we want you to be our MC, our frontliner, where it's Foul Play, Omnichio, Two Bad Mice, Blade. I'm representing the moving shadow format.
They were a big label as well, do you know
and
what I
then
mean?
you remember the stance with Voodoo Magic.
Yeah, of course.
And it's the square, I mean, the iconic. I mean, you called it world domination, and I'm not even kid you not. That's another why I said taking the airplane like a taxi. We would world dominate. Moving Shadow was, as you know, the list goes on. Then you got metalheads. Goldie giving me the chance, a platform to like use my skills, and then you got Ram, and then you had Valve coming for me. So you had all those people at that time. So my echelons was there. For me, sustaining the highest echelons was my default of my character of what I was doing. So, did I hit it? Some people might question it. Yeah, I did. Because it was a living. It was a career. If I knew what I knew then, would I took a different path? Absolutely. But I can't change that.
Yeah, you can't change that. You can't change it.
But
no.
Flux was, I was one of the, to me, I will say now, I was one of the first to make it professional.
It's like there's going to be a lot of people watching this, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Going to go, MC Flux. They're going to go, yeah, I've heard of him. Do you know what I mean? They're going to, I've heard of him. They're going to say, I've heard of the name.
Yeah.
But you see that window that you're speaking of just there?
Yeah.
That was your moment. That was about to take you to
the echelons,
to another level.
Yeah, the highest echelons.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Oh,
So,
what a crazy situation.
It's did I get there? Yeah, you could say, but did I sustain it? No.
No, you didn't.
It's like I got promoted to the Premier and come down the next year.
Yeah. And you know what? Being frank, with what I know about energy and what I know about karma and what I know about things like that, that was a train crash waiting to happen. But it's testament to how good you were. It's like, imagine that. You created this life beforehand. Mm-hmm. You didn't know you were going to be this MC.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You didn't know you were going to be this MC. And then you start to become this MC. And then you start to become... But you got this baggage behind you, bro. That is like pulling you behind. And it was always going to pull you down, man. Unless you were able to come out of that. And I make you right. Going to prison was probably the best thing that could have happened to you because you might have died.
I guess if I knew what these certain MCs, what came through in the latter years, what we built up for them, and even the ones now, if I knew what I knew then, because I always thought, when I picked up the mic, it's a party, it'd be finished tomorrow. If I had no idea that drum and bass was going to become what it is now.
I don't think anybody
it's phenomenal.
Did. Yeah.
So I didn't know that. We just thought it's one big party. Then given the chance to actually create the platform and be noticed. But, like you said, the life I was living before, I couldn't leave. It was just there. I was going back to it every day. I remember a story when I came from Germany. I was with Frost. And we had a meeting with QPR. And we're on the plane. And I'm getting changed. And you go, what's going on? What do you do, Flux? I go, I got a meeting with QPR. Wait, what? You mean you got... yeah, and I'm getting changed. I'm actually getting changed.
That's nuts.
And we're landing at Heathrow, and I've got to run and have a meeting. Because it was a big meet. It was called on for months. And, it's when I think about it, I'm thinking, it's crazy. What am I thinking? It's like he didn't leave me. It's like I wanted it. I craved it. No matter what the outcome. I didn't know what the outcome would be. But I got what I was looking for. And as you know, in hindsight now, and I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it till this podcast is finished, it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, I still want to hear more about your career now. Do you know what I mean? I want to hear more about your career and the our viewers, I mean, a lot of them thrive on hearing the history lesson of a certain window, and you've got your own, even though it was marred with this stuff, or what society might deem marred. Obviously, you were in your element with it, but just tell me some of the good times.
Rob Playford, Too Bad, My Simon and Sean. These guys, even now, even though I don't see a lot of Rob now, had my back. And Simon now, they've got a label called Overshadow, going to be massive at them. It's just going to explode at them sooner or later, probably now. All those people on Moving Shadow and still working with Overshadow label now, they knew my skills on what I could do and what I can deliver. And being signed to them, Moving Shadow, I would say it was a massive, it was something else. It was like, can't believe this is happening. And getting a chance to perform at the bigger stages with all the big raves, all the big labels, we were putting on nights, was mind-blowing, you know. I didn't come through radio. Radio, I didn't have to go through radio to build my career. I built my career on stage, lucky enough. So to get that sort of attention, and even though Groove was my friend, and even performing with Groove and Fabio and Bailey and Chemistry and Storm, who again took me on as a platform, as a label, a load of different artists. I mean, Bad Company came for me. But because of the defects of my character, and they probably heard in the grapevine, what probably didn't lead me becoming more of part of that crew. Foul Play, I was part of Foul Play. R.I.P. Brad, Steve Gurley, who made a massive career in the Gary circuit. I mean, so many people I was like belonged to and performed with in so many different ways. My career was like on another level. No, it's stride by stride with some of the MCs who were at that time performing. I was stride by stride with them. There was no less, no higher. During all the first One Nations, whatever happened, part of the Metalheads crew, touring around with the Ram Records crew at the time. You know, all the clubs were around at the time, whether it be Herbal, Fabric. One thing I didn't really do much though, which was I find kind of funny. At the end, I did roast, but I didn't do much jungle things like the Desert Storms, like the things what you were probably more doing. I wasn't really, because we didn't get to perform much, did we?
No, we didn't really. No, not at all. No.
That's a question I want to ask you. Really, your paths didn't really cross. We have done, but not at that time. So I wasn't. I was part of in and out, filtered in and out, not in the jungle. No, I was. No, that's correction, I was. But maybe the authentic jungle sound things I wasn't doing. Like the Desert Storms. Obviously, I done the Jungle Mania or the roast at that time. What's your high apply for what I'm about, or how the West was run? Yeah, I wasn't doing them ones.
Yeah, no, I don't really remember what ones you were on or not on. Do you know what I mean? I just remember you as an MC, that you were there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find it interesting though that the group of brands you just mentioned though, they're a particular brand, they're a particular set, aren't they? They're like drum and bass.
Well, they chose. Well, like I said, it wasn't me. They chose me.
Yeah.
I mean, Bad Company.
They must have been doing something right within their world, that they were like, yeah, you know what I mean. And maybe it could have been simply the fact that you weren't so ragga potentially. You get what I mean? It could have been that.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember doing Kiss 100 first drum and bass show. It was the first live drum and bass show to go out live officially, and I was chosen to headline it with Randall and Zinc. And it's still played to this day. It's still got a lot of hits to this day. And we done it at Coco's, Old Camden Palace. And I remember Bad Company hearing it, and they chased me.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
What are you doing?
It must be that kind of vibe. Yeah.
And, before we were going here and there around the world, then obviously with Foul Play being sought after, and in part of the Ram crew as well, sought after. So, all these people was sorting after me, maybe because of my style at the time was so ragga or whatever, and they thought, yes, we can work with this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? He's not dominating the music, how, in what way, sort of thing. So there was a lot of opens for me. And man, when I think about it now, it blows my mind. The places where I've been twice over, I mean, Australia 4 times, New Zealand 4 times, you name it, Brazil, America, all over Europe, I've been to and performed more than once, not one thing, a lot. Because you hear a lot of people thinking, really, you've gone there? Yeah, a lot of people have gone there. I have gone there a lot and performed at a nice level.
So you go to prison, you spend that time there, yeah? And I can only assume that when you're in prison now, you clean up in terms of your heroin addiction.
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you going through that process inside the jail?
If I say it was quite easy, then people think, really? Yeah, it was. Because the penny dropped. What I was doing to my family, what I was doing to my friends, what I was doing to people who loved me and respected me at that time. And more or less what I was doing to myself. And then when you have a person who believes in you, I had a person come up to me, my offending officer, who looked at my probation reports, and it was quite big, because I engaged him. And he called me to the side and he went, Mr. Thomas went, yeah. He goes, how word? I went, yeah, cool. He goes, why are you here? I goes, I know why you're here, but why are you here? I've read your reports and I can't believe it's either you're a good liar or you're doing what you've done. And he goes, if you don't get back to do what you do, then choose another path. He goes, like what? And he goes, come here. And he took me over the cage, looked over, he goes, I can tell you who's coming back, who's not coming back, who's going to clean up, who's not. And he goes, and he's going through it and he goes, but you got something. I see how you strut around. You're quite confident. You're quite cocky character. He goes, and you talk well. And you're not scared to talk. So give something back. I go, like what? He goes, use your going through as a deterrent for people not to go through this process and go through the system which you are now in. Use your skills. You're not scared. He goes, could you do that? He goes, yeah, of course. And he kept battering me until it's non-stop until I said, okay, cool. And it hit me. And I guess him coming to me and going through getting clean was quite easy for me. Because once something clicks in my mind, pain means nothing to me. Because like I said, when you're a football hooligan, I mean, I've been knocked out, I've been this, that pain's not really an issue for me. Do you know what I mean? Because I believe that that's what it is. You go through pain in life, you live, you die.
So you found it quite easy to get off of the drugs while you were in there. You go through 3 years of sort of like incarceration, for want of another term. What do you do when you come out? And what year are we talking about here? What years are we talking about?
2010, late 2010, May, June. And by that time I engaged.
That's when you came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I engaged with Pete Nice about reaching out, writing about a book. Mm-hmm. And he thought it was an idea at the time. And I said, look, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to be right honest. I can't hold nothing back. And he goes, sure. And he goes, well, if other people know, I'm not going to know. So I might as well tell my side of the story. So we had words. Peter being an author of many books now, said, okay, I'll do it. And he's been my mantra. I mean, a lot of my friends have stood by me, Face Killer.
That's really good, man. It's really good.
Even Groove.
Yeah, that's really, really good, bro.
And they've stood by Stubbs.
Yeah, that's really, really good, man.
But Peter, he's probably been a lifesaver. Along with my family, don't get me wrong. My family's been the rock.
Yeah.
But my friends, we're talking friends here, have stood by me. Even probably all this, probably what they've heard and what I'd had to go through in the ridicule and anything else, they stuck by me. And so we've done the book, very successful, probably one of the first, in a drama-based sense. And yeah, it led us on to do a second edition, say where I am now. But it set a path for me.
Yeah.
And it set a path for me to become and do a safeguarding course and become a mentor and visiting units, schools where excluded kids are. And obviously invited on a tour with Nigel Ben to speak about your life. That was mind-blowing because they saw what I could deliver. And I speak about options and taking responsibility. Because I believe this, Rob. No matter what you do in life, no matter big or small, you have to ask yourself, what part did you play to get yourself in this predicament? A lot of people think called the entrapment. Now, I'll just say it quickly. You know, I meet you, you meet me. You know I'm a prolific robber. You know I'm a prolific burglar. You see me in the street, you say, yeah, what are you saying? You choose. I say, yeah, you want to come here, come get a drink. You choose to say, yeah, cool. Even though you know everything about me. You know I'm a prolific thief. You know I'm a prolific robber. You know what I do. But you choose to walk with me. I say, yeah, cool. Stand in the corner. I'm just going to go back and see a friend. You stand in the corner. I do what I do. I rob a house. I come back. I walk down the street with you. We both get arrested. The first thing you're going to say, I ain't done nothing. Yeah, you haven't done nothing. But you're still going to get arrested for it. And the first thing as a policeman's going to say to you, did you know what sort of person you were dealing with? Now, if you're honest, you're going to say, yeah. So the next question he goes, so why choose to go with him? You might get away with it and get not guilty and cool, but you'll still get arrested because they're going to think about your thought process. And your thought process is going to be like, yeah, it's cool. I meet a guy, it's cool, but you know what? Let's keep it moving. Because I don't know what I'm getting myself into. It's just like if I went football again and I went with a guy, I would know, say, there's a 50% chance I might get myself in trouble again. So my thought process would be, keep it cool, keep it nice, keep it simple, and keep it moving. And that's on my thought process now. I think about the consequence of my thinking. And that's what I have to keep doing, is think about where would I get. And taking responsibility is the hardest thing a human being can do because a lot of people just do not get it. It's like the hardest thing for a human being to do is to listen. Now, my training is like, the hardest thing to do is to listen. Anybody can speak. I can speak for the world and twice on a Sunday, but to actually listen and feel that guy's journey and feel like, I may not understand what you're going through, but I understand. And that's empathy. And you've got to feel it. You've got to feel it like, say, look, I've not done what you're going through, but you know what, rude boy? I understand. I'm going to do this together. And that's the path I choose now. And that's what I do.
Flux, earlier you said, much earlier, I can't remember if we were on camera at the time, but you said you suffered with bipolar. When was you diagnosed with that, and how does that sort of like affect your like day-to-day sort of like life, and how do you cope with it? 3 questions in one.
Do you know what? It's apparent now in 2023 because when I was diagnosed 2010 with personality disorder.
So if you were diagnosed in 2010, this was just as you were coming out of prison? Yeah. Right, okay, I'm with you.
And it was like, really? You mean I get off one shit to go into another bit of shit? And it's an unbelievable experience. It's like, really, God, you're testing me now. You're taking different sort of substance or medicine to help you through. And there's no cure for a person bipolar. All you just do is go for one medication, one bit of lithium to another bit of lithium.
So you had to take medication to...
Oh yeah, you have got to take medication. I'm on some form of lithium to keep my balance in balance, and that's what bipolar is. You get diagnosed with the symptoms, and then it's down to you how you take your medication and how you live your life. Now, I haven't had anything happen rash until lately, and there's different sorts of bipolar levels. There's so many different
Yeah,
types.
I was going to say that because, like, I have this sort of like ignorant almost version of what bipolar is, which is like the person's fine, next minute they're not fine in an extreme way. Yeah, is that essentially what
That's
it is?
exactly
Yeah?
what it is.
Okay.
You can be high as a kite, and then one thing could happen, it just downward spiral.
And is it normally something that triggers the other
There's
thing?
always a trigger. There's always one little small trigger, then there's a big trigger. That's it.
Yeah.
And the next minute you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the danger of bipolar, because it can trigger somebody not being here no more.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's a deep thing for me to live with. Like, there has been triggers. I mean, I won't lie. And then you're thinking, why am I here? But it's nothing you can do about it. Once it starts, there's a lot of people, even I've got family members think, oh, it's mine, other matter, meditate. Look, if you don't know, I tell you now, and I'm going to go on camera, if you don't know about bipolar, please research it. Just research. Before you pass judgment, research it, because it's a serious thing. Because you're getting changed from one medication to another all the time to control your balance, your imbalance. And
That's
lithium,
wild, man.
Lithium's
That
very
is so
serious.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to control. And my balance, personality disorder, which you can tell.
Hold on, one
Flux, Carl, Rodney,
Yeah.
personality disorder.
Yeah.
I don't know who I am half of the time. I've got to go on stage and be Flux. Flux left on the stage. Everybody used to call me Rodney. Rodney was a violent thing, out-controlled, heroin, that thing. Carl is what you're seeing now.
Who's Rodney?
Rodney was the person who you. Wild, unpredictable, drug-taking, thought process was off the scale, didn't care.
But where does the name Rodney come from? Is that a middle name or something?
No, my name is Carl Rodney Thompson. Everybody knows me as Rodney.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
If you
Yeah.
ask group would go Rodney.
Right, okay, yeah.
Basically go Rodney.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
They would all call me Rodney.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they say, they say Rodney.
Yeah, I'm with you now.
Right?
Yeah.
So I went back to my first name, Carl. Everybody who knows me back at my area knows me as Rodney. So Rodney was a character. It was a personality. Flux is a personality on stage, as you know, who you know probably more better than anything else. You know me as Flux.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Carl is who you're talking to now.
Yeah.
So it sounds mad, doesn't it?
No, I get it though. I get it. I totally
But it's
get it.
leaving that things, and that's where the bipolar kicks in. Because I didn't leave the characters alone. I'm moving into one personality to another personality. And not knowing that's it.
Yeah,
I understand. A bit like David Bowie was Ziggy Stardust, and he used to move into certain personalities. Yeah. As a performer. Yeah. Some people suffer from it.
That can't be easy, man. That can't be easy. And why it can't be easy as well? Because then, even imagine you're now diagnosed with bipolar, but when you were a kid, you always wanted to be accepted. So you're already becoming a personality. You might have been left Carl a long time ago, and you became Rodney. Yeah. From a very young age, just to be that thing, and that Rodney thing just was took up a huge chunk of your life.
Well, my dad was insistent of calling me Carl. My mum said no, he's Rodney. So Rodney's my middle name, so I took Rodney because of my mum, and I got what I was looking for. Jumping out of personality into another personality is, I didn't even know it was happening. I didn't know when to leave it. I mean, I suffer from instant gratification, which is a behavior problem. I always want things done now. I can never say, I'm not one to hold back. If I'm like a kid, I'm excited, I want to do it now. That's instant gratification, no? Calm down. No, listen. When you hit a dog and they start, it's like that. Calm. You're gonna get there. You're gonna get it. And it's wild. I mean, I've been hearing a lot these days. Narcissist or narcissistic. Somebody called me the other day, and I'm thinking. I looked it up and God, man, I ain't even got the time to even perform, because you have to set the seed and make it grow and control a person for how you want that person to be. in a narcissistic behavior. And if anybody knows me, I suffer from instant gratification. Like I just want things now. I ain't got no patience. I ain't got no time. Not patience. Not no patience in a bad way. No patience in like if it's good, I like it to be out there. But not knowing that, okay, there's certain things like what you were setting up today. It will take me a long time to process that because you were so patient with it, and I'm thinking, how does he do that? And I was actually taken back. I went, I can't do that because I've got no patience.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand. I mean, how are you managing your bipolar on a daily basis then?
You got to make sure you take your medication correctly during a period of that hourly. Don't make it drop out the times you take it. You got to take it consistently.
Flux, I can't believe you're having to go through all of this, bruv.
Yeah,
Bruv, I cannot believe you have to go through all of this, brother.
Yeah, there's a lot of medication.
Did not know.
Yeah.
Did not know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've got anxiety. I mean, in here, I take diazepam at a high level to calm down my anxiety because I'm hyper. So where a lot of people will probably be like that, it doesn't. It levels me out because I'm really quite hyper. I'm loud and boisterous. And I can chat for, like I said, all day today, next day, and twice on a Sunday. My mouth is big. I'm loud. You get me in my mood, you'll hear me in the face because I'm not shy. That's what it is. I'm not shy.
With everything that you've gone through and come out the other side, you touched on it earlier about, the support you do for other people who may well be, thanks to that offending officer, who may have steered you in that direction. Tell me more about what you do now with regards to that. What is it you actually do in support of people who may well be vulnerable?
Okay, I do a lot of volunteering. Salvation Army, homeless. I work for an organisation called Whitechapel, and I also work for ex-offenders. And basically it's called User Voice, and it's basically for people coming out to rehabilitate themselves to become a pro-social person in life. Because that's what we all try to assume to be, pro-social person. So some people say, what is a pro-social person? Someone who pays bills, lives by the law, gets up.
Pro-social, is that what it's called?
Pro-social.
Never heard that term before.
It's a pro-social person. Basically, you work, pay your bills, you go home, you get up, do the same thing. You stay out of trouble.
A good citizen.
Yeah.
A good citizen.
Yeah, you live by the law, you stay by the law. It's called pro-social.
Right, never heard
You're
that
not
term
breaking
before.
any sort of law, you're just being what people should be in life, following the letter
and
of the
so
law.
you help people when they come out of prison and
I don't help.
Okay.
I kind of assist and listen and then try and not give an opinion, because an opinion can lead to someone to a downward spiral in life if you give a wrong opinion.
I'm with you, yeah.
So you try and listen and feel their journey and tell them to make them try more open up, and then talk about yourself and like, okay, this is how I
understand, yeah.
Without saying that this is what you should do.
Yeah, I'm with you, yeah. And so this is happening on a and like this is like your day to day. This is what you're doing. Like if any one week, this is what you're doing.
I get clients. Settled in the area, I get clients. May get prison visits if your safeguarding certificates up in order. I'm gonna say this, put this on record, and whether it sounds arrogant or not, it's straight. I'm all right, MC. I'm all right. I've been there, done what I had to do. But I'm a really good mentor.
That's amazing.
And I say that, and I say that because I'm really sought after. When people engage with me, because they know I've been through it, and kids are the hardest ones to engage with. You catch ones who are in units or being excluded from school, then you're really fighting against it. Prisoners who are more institutionalized are more easier to deal with because they don't only know one thing. It's just to keep their cell clean, get up, repeat. It's like a Groundhog Day for them. So they quite get into living that pro-social life quite easy, actually.
Okay.
In fact, too easy.
Right, okay.
Homeless is hard. People are homeless. People on drugs, hard because you have to want to get off drugs. You can't. That's it. The first step is I want to. NA meetings still do now. I still like remind myself, refresh, and to see people how they're getting on and how they're progressing in life. And it keeps me level grounded because I'm level grounded. I'm cool. I'm like I take responsibility how I live my life, but I also take responsibility of the person I am now. And there's nothing I can do to change anybody's perception on me. So when people watch these podcasts, they're gonna think that, or they're gonna think that, and I leave it up to them. And all I have to say to that, I have to take responsibility because I gave them the choice to form an opinion about me, and that's all I can say.
We spoke recently, and you said to me that you didn't really have that much of a desire anymore with your MCing and your career in that regard. Can you speak to me about that? Tell me a bit about your reasoning and your logic behind that.
You mean not wanting to be an MC?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I think I probably put it in the wrong way. Context.
Okay.
No, MCing's everything to me.
Okay, good.
I put that record now. MC's everything to me.
MC's
everything to me.
Don't scrub him off the books, you know.
Yeah, don't
I made a mistake.
Ron made a mistake. Yeah?
I made the mistake.
No, MC's everything to me.
I think, can I just say this?
Yeah.
I think you're a good MC.
Honestly.
I think you're a good MC. And you know what? No, I'm
don't
not
lie
giving you
to
lip
me,
service.
bro.
Listen,
Don't
bro,
do
I'm
this
not
to
going to
me.
give you lip service. I remember when I kind of, 2018 this was, when I decided might take a little look back in on this scene, yeah? And you MC'd for me up in, was it Liverpool?
I still got that.
Yeah,
and I still use that.
Yeah, you MC'd
and I'm
for
going to
me.
put that up again.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? He's actually
We
quite...
smashed it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like
he's
saying
actually
that.
quite good.
I actually didn't say that.
And I didn't actually have a memory of you MCing. So when you MC'd on that night, I was like, hold on a minute, where's this brother been all this time?
Who's that guy who's the reggae guy?
God knows.
Oh, what's his name again?
Top
he was
Cat.
on tour. He was on top. The DJ. He's on tour with us doing the jungle thing.
Oh, was it Shawnee B?
He came up tonight after
Shawnee
that set,
B,
and he goes, "I don't know you like this sort of music, but what you and Ron done, you got the crowd." And I kept in contact with him for a little while.
Shawnee's a good guy, man.
And he said, and I don't like to use that. We smashed it. It
was a good night.
It was an aura of us.
Yeah.
And I still use a bit, which I think is still on my Instagram.
Yeah.
When it was just like, it was on point for me, on point for you. Obviously more for me because I'm gonna make myself look good. But it was just
I think you managed that. I was impressed, and I just wanted to put that on record.
Okay, well we got that on record.
Yeah.
Whatever camera we to that. We got that record. No, do you know what? I'm gonna put this on record now. I think all the MCs or MCs I've got total respect for. I mean, obviously I've got personal favourites. But I think all the boys who are doing it now, I've got all the respect for. One guy I got, I don't know, sometimes I wonder, why? I go out and I say, I know why. And it's an aura, and it's never out of, like, because I don't suffer from that. I've got no hatred in me. I'm happy for a person to do what they've got to do. But Gary's always been an influence on me. I mean, I can see why he is where he is. Gary GQ, I should say. I can see why he is and where he is. His persona, his attitude, his MCing, his voice, his timing. It's impeccable. It's like, and I always see him as a mantra. Do you know what I mean? I listen to him and I think, okay. Even to now. Even though I do my own thing, I go, see, that's what he does. That's what he does. I'm always listening because he sets bars and I don't think he does himself injustice. He knows. And then he knows when his ticket is, because I think everybody got their ticket. But he's using his ticket well. And I respect him. Never won The Godfather. I mean, I can't believe he's still going and he's still sought after. That's Moose.
Yeah, Moose, yeah. I'm of the opinion that both of them come from a similar kind of stock, which is just a stock which is consistency. And with consistency,
Yeah.
it's impossible to fail.
Yeah.
And with everything I've heard today, this is where I say to myself, where you're concerned, and then coming all the way to the end of this interview to where we spoke just now about when you emceed for me at Liverpool, it's clear that you would have been in that same thing, bro.
Yeah.
You would have been in that same bracket because it would have been impossible not to, because the brands you were working with at that time were 4 or 5 of the biggest drum and bass brands at that time, and they still are. Apart from some of them that they no longer exist, full stop. But for the others, they're huge, and so I'll say one thing's for certain. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what I was gonna get, which I said at the beginning, coming in here and having this conversation with you. Do you know what I mean? And knowing you as a person and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? The little that I did know about you, yeah. But I rate you, bruv. I got to give you your ratings, man. I've got to give you your ratings because you've come through a serious piece of mill. You've come through a mill, a grinding stone, yeah? To be sat here in front of me now, right? Speaking with that level of honesty about some serious challenges, you know what I mean? From a child, essentially. From a child, we've all been through things as a child. This is like serious, damaging trauma from a child that you've come through and sit here now while you're still challenged with things that would normally hold other people back. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to say before we go any further, which we are coming to the end, but I just wanted to say those things out and out so that you know it. I rate you for that, bruv. I rate you. Your ratings since today have gone up higher in my book. End of story. Yeah, and I know you didn't come here for that.
No,
but I'm just letting you know.
I didn't. I'm kind of getting emotional because what you say, because I'm an emotional guy about it. It's what Fat said before he passed away too. He said to me all the time, especially in my days when I was struggling. And he was always there for me, even when fractions were against me and gossip. He used to ring me up. He used to ask me, "Did you do that?" I said, "I can do it, Fats,
He said, he would say, "Did you do it?" And you say, "No, I didn't do it."
I looked at him and go, "Fat." He goes, "I believe it." He goes, "This is how it went." And he's the only one I spoke open with. And he used to ring me up and goes, "Ride the joke. You heard this joke about me." He goes, ride the joke, And he used to tell me the joke. And we spoke, when we connected, I kid not, every day, nearly every day. Because he could speak to me. We'd speak about different things 2 days before he even passed away. 3 days, 2 days. And it was hard for me because Fats wasn't Fats to me. Fats was Wolf, you know what I mean? Fats, we spoke on a different level. It was a different level and it built me up. And thank you for saying that thing because, sometimes it's not easy being me. And that's why when I do what I do, I speak about why turn left when you can turn right. Why go through these things when you don't have to go through these things? Because once you're in that system, once you're judged, that's it. There's no going back.
Well, there is going back because I've gone back. There is going back.
There's going back, but changing someone's perception about you is the hardest thing.
Yeah, it can be hard. Yeah.
I can go up to someone.
Well, I hope that people who watch
without
this,
mentioning no names, without even mentioning no names, I know I can go up to that person and go, "Ew, what now? Blah 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 blah," and I reckon I'll still go, "Yeah, we're no business. Go on, do your thing." Because their perception's not going to change. They are going to think what they're going to think, and I'm thinking, I'm not that guy. But if you want to think that guy, cool. And then there's that thing of thinking you know what? If you give me a chance, I'll show you what I can do. Because you can change. And you've got a lot of people who sit there on social moaning about it. Remember, I was 7 years out of the game. And I put my mindset. I remember Gary saying to me, before pre-COVID, and I even said to myself, even with Judy at the time was doing my stuff, my girlfriend, she was like, well, this could be a career for me again, you know? It was happening at a fast rate. Work was going up, people looking at me. Then COVID came, messed up for a lot of people doing what they want to do. Had to change, probably still now. And, you know, it's a hard, funky 223. I think 223 is a hard year for everyone, but it's still something. You know, I still got bits and pieces. I'm recording more. I'm recording with some great artists. I'm doing what I'm doing now. I never used to record before. And I'm recording some good things. I'm happy with the things I've got coming out at the moment. Supporting some good people. So the music, there's a lot of music still left in me. But I say to those people who are just sitting there on their asses moaning about the world, that you can do it. Because remember, I'm 7 years out the game. Not just sitting there flitting outside, out the game. And then put your mindset to come, I want to be part in this game. And I'm flirting around, you know what I mean? I'm not okay in the echelons part, but I'm flitting around doing, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I could do better, but I'm okay. And, you know, I think if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I know it sounds when you hear that, yeah, but you got to believe it, man. You can do anything you want to do in life. You can do it. I don't care. Because I've been incarcerated. I've been on a certain drug. I've got mental health. Now, if I can get... Okay, you need support and you need to believe yourself. But I'm telling you now, if I can do it, me, personally, anybody can do it. And I mean that from my heart. And if people don't believe, then my number's there available to speak to me anytime, 24/7. And or read the book.
Flux, thanks for joining us today, brother. Do you know what I mean?
Ron, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a really eye opener for me, and particularly the last bit where we spoke about people's perceptions and things like that, because I still think that with everything I heard and all the rest of it, you know, there's something still sort of like niggling in the back, and I think that stems from, if I be frank, I think that stems from the idea that people who become drug addicts, they're risky.
Yeah.
They're like anything could happen.
Yeah.
But for me tonight, I was able to wipe the slate clean where you're concerned, and I really appreciate that.
Listen, Ron,
I really
thank
appreciate
you for inviting me down. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah. I really appreciate you turning up, man. Do you know what I mean?
Do that thing. Thank you.
All right, bless up for that, brother.
And you,
One
bro.
love. Yeah.
This is for Fats as well, man. Fats, I miss you,
Big up
baby.
Fats wherever you are, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
All right, man.
Peace.
Cool.